When I walk my own path and I'm able to hear another person's story, I realize that their story is a part of my story. I don't have to give up who I am. I don't have to give up my paradigm or my narrative to hear them. I don't have to give up who I am to grow. And so this is what the left-hand path has taught me. This is what I've learned from the right-hand path, and I don't think that they're exclusive. I just had a wonderful conversation with a friend that I hadn't spoken to in probably 3 years, and I've probably known this person for some lifetimes. After reconnecting, I was just telling her a story about my wife and I were taking this trip on we do hikes as a family. And on one of the hikes, she was complaining about the route that I had taken. When my wife voiced her concerns about the path, I called it complaining because I'm a husband, and that's what a wife's voice sounds like, complaint. And in the past, I would get upset about it. I would say, I wouldn't even say something all the time, but I would think to myself, why is she complaining about the route I took? This time, I thought, what she's sharing is legitimate. That's her story. That's her experience. And it doesn't invalidate the route that I took. It doesn't make anything that I'm choosing or doing today wrong or bad. It's just part of this process. I realized that when I was able to hear her story and validate it as a part of her, as a part of her paradigm, as a part of her reality, when I was truly able to hear my wife's story and what she was experiencing, there was something about the path that she didn't like or that she didn't want. Then I was able to say, that's true for her. I was able to more fully engage in my own story, more fully be present in my own story. There was no attachment to it. I didn't have to fix it. I wasn't wrong. I wasn't a bad person. It was just another story. With everything that's going on right now, it's almost like our country is in a civil war in a way. And it's a war of ideas. It's two ideas that are at conflict here. And people are the casualties. Relationships are the casualties. Connection is the casualty. And I think that if we can hear another person's story and validate that it's their story, their reality, and that I don't have to buy into it. I don't have to be a part of that world. That's their realm. And there's nothing wrong with their realm for them. The only problem with their story, the only problem with their reality is if I buy into it. And there are a lot of stories, there's a lot of truths out there that don't impact me, that are not true for me. They have nothing to do with who I am or where I want to go in life and what I'm creating. And so with that, if someone says something like about their story or about their reality, or even if somebody attacks me or insults what I'm doing, I realize that I can honor that because that is true for them. It doesn't have to be true for me. And imagine if we could live our whole lives when we go through life and just realize that something that another person is sharing with us is their own story, it's their own truth, their own reality. I do believe that there's an objective truth that we can all aim for, and I do believe that we will get there someday. But in the meantime, as we are all traveling to the top of this cosmic mountain, why not just love our own stories, love our own experience so much that we can accept, honor, and appreciate someone else's experience, someone else's story. I don't buy into the current paradigm when it comes to race relations. I don't believe in the white privilege or white supremacy. I don't believe any of those things are even valid. Even though I experienced some very tough racial experiences as a child, they were not any more racial than me eating a muffin. It was all just experience, and the lens that I used to see that experience is what made it what it was. And so what I've learned is that in the conversation that's happening around race and around COVID and everything that's happening, we can honor another person's experience around it. So people have told me, oh, oppression this, oppression that, suppression and repression. And I say, so mote it be. That's true for you. I honor that. So may it be your experience. I don't have to accept that as reality for me because I live on a different wavelength. My experience with people and my experience with law enforcement has been very different. I've had some challenging experiences, but they don't make me. They don't determine who I am today. They're a part of my story. They're a part of my story. I am my whole story. And so if I'm able to listen to someone else's story and connect with them from that level and say, yeah, I hear your story, then it's a huge thing. And that's what allows me to embrace left-hand path ideas, because these are other people's stories about the world. And I can see parts of myself in that story. I can see the validity of that story and the importance of it to my own walk and my own life. one of the experiments that I've been doing over the last couple of weeks is posting things that go almost exactly opposite of the mainstream paradigm right now. The mainstream paradigm right now is that racism is real and that it has a long history in this country and it's something we need to stop. So I made sure to put out things that would tell another story, because I understand what it's like to be called hate speech and to have things thrown at you, and for people to make effigies of me and destroy them. Fortunately for me, I can laugh at those experiences because I know what it was like to go through that. I was the kid, I was the only colored bot in the entire school, and I know what it's like to be the object of hatred or the object of ridicule in that way. But I also know that I'm not alone in that. I know there's a lot of other people that have gone through being hated, being hurt, being treated poorly. And so because I know I'm not alone in that, it frees me up. It lets me know that I'm free and I'm part of this human experience and I'm not alone. Tell you that never be afraid to shine your ugliness and your beauty. That's why Left Hand Path is so beautiful to me, because it allows us to delve into those darker aspects of self and to really embrace and to understand them. I want to encourage you to never be afraid to share and to shine, because when we shine, we give permission to ourselves, we give permission to others around us to shine fully. Shining fully is showing up and being transparent about who we are. Shining is like telling our story or listening to someone else's story. Shining fully is a way for us to send a very clear message about the kinds of relationships and circumstances that we intend to create in life. It empowers us to give others room to do the same. When we shine fully, we are visible to those who appreciate who we truly are, because they're looking for the kind of shine we emit. We create circumstances and connections that reflect our highest selfhood, and this makes us practically invisible to those who would dislike who we are. It really repels them. They don't even see us, and they end up finding others who are more suited to what they are looking for. When we dim our light down, we send out a confusing message. We are tempted to criticize and shame others who are shining, and that in turn dims our light even more. And then we wonder why we end up in relationships where we're not understood or appreciated. And then we get angry when circumstances in our lives don't reflect who we are. Today I had a wonderful connection with a dear friend, and afterwards I was tempted to dull my shine by hiding my altar swastikas from my friend. I have an altar and I love my altar, and it has lots of swastikas on it, and I don't know how people will handle that. And I was like, a little bit afraid to send it out, and I was getting ready to send it out, and someone told me, yeah, don't do it. But I was like, this is a part of who I am. I have positive associations with the swastika because when I was about 11 years old, a neo-Nazi kid at school wanted to beat me up, and I was protected from him by a man who had a swastika tattoo on his neck. I was surprised to find that by sharing my altar with my friend, it led to a deeper connection over other shared interests. And as a result, this friend who I spoke to shared her beautiful altars as well. No matter what your skin color is, no matter what your religion is, doesn't matter if you're a Satanist or a Christian or an Adventist or a Catholic or a Muslim or a Buddhist, doesn't matter. We're all human. We have our stories. We have our experiences. Maybe now we can start listening to other people's stories and saying, yes, that is true for you. And this is my story. This is my experience. I really believe that if we can do that, we can create a world that is civilized, that is harmonious, that is prosperous, that is opulent, a world that is completely enchanting. Why do I believe that? Well, I believe that because I believe I came from that world. I believe that that is my home. That's my story. It may not be true for you, but that's my story. I want to let you guys know, we all have these stories, we're all connected. And this is a paradigm that I am flowing into, and that's flowing into me and through me. I also want to say that maybe this paradigm is not for you. Maybe this reality is not true or good or perfect for you. That's totally fine. I know that your story matters. And if it doesn't matter to you, who else can it matter to? So I'm encouraging you to embrace your story, shine fully, share fully, live fully. Don't be afraid to hear someone else's story. Maybe that story will awaken your path in a way that you may not have ever known before. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for sharing, liking, and commenting below. If what you discovered here resonates with you and you're absolutely ready to take it to the next level, make sure you set up a free one-on-one session to get clarity around your goals and see if the Sci-Life method is a good fit for you. To set up your free one-on-one session, click the Calendly link in the description of each video and sign up. Once you've completed the session, you'll receive a guided meditation activating your personal power with serenity and mental clarity. The solutions you seek are closer than you think. Advanced beings awakening within humanity are activating the transcendent totality in them. As we create and shape reality for the post-pandemic world, make sure your connection to this power is real for you as we transition into a world that works. Activate your transcendent selfhood today.